Just your average everyday trucker, keeping it real. I'm your host, Chris Blodgett, and you're listening to Real Talk Tuesday.
This week's topic is going to be you got to listen to your body, and sometimes you just need to take advantage of the time off. This is episode 124. Hey guys, welcome back. So, the inspiration for this topic is we're entering yet another holiday week, which I don't know about you, but I am super excited about, mainly because I am officially off. We got to, I think it was like Saturday into Sunday, and my boss pretty much the Saturday night into Sunday, that was a very fun shift. Basically I came in at like 10 o'clock at night, and I ended up trying to remember what exactly I did. Of course, I am still freaking exhausted, so that's why I'm kind of speaking a little slower, trying to like enunciate a little bit, if you know what I mean, while taking a little bit of a drink. But yeah, that night I kind of got to let's see, they brought me over to Lebanon that night. So I had to come in, I had to pick up basically set up a set, two empty trailers in the dolly, make my way over to Lebanon. In Lebanon, I dropped those and then set up a set. There was two trailers, one going to Clarksville, or one going to Knoxville, and one of them going to Kodak. Usually when you have like two separate locations, usually what happens is, if it all works out, your rear trailer goes to where to your first location. So let's say I'm going to Knoxville first. Usually they would have it, most of the time they would have the rear trailer be the lighter one, and that would be going to Knoxville. So I would pull into Knoxville, I would drop that rear trailer, I would then set the dolly up in front of another empty, and then I would back the front trailer up to that and get everything set back up again, and I would take off, dispatch myself, take off, and head out to Kodak. Every so often, you get a load like that, but for whatever reason, your first, they have you set up to where your first stop is your front trailer. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna be completely honest. That freaking sucks. But I do it. But it's like sometimes what you can do is you can actually get away with if the trailers are like evenly weighted. Like, let's say the rear trailer is going to your second stop and your front trailer is your first stop, but they're like a couple 100-pound difference, because you want your rear trailer to be your heavier one or your lighter one. You want all the weight, like the bulk of the weight, mostly up front. So let's say you got the front trailer is like 14,200 and the back trailer is like 14,600. So you got 400-pound difference. Usually if there's a huge weight difference, then your back trailer will fishtail on you. But if you're really close in weight, if it's not like, I don't know, there's been times where I've switched the trailers, so that when I go to the first location, I'm not dropping the full set. I can just drop the rear trailer, use the front trailer with the dolly, pull in front of one of the empties, and I go back there and I walk the dolly back to an empty. Makes it a little bit less stressful, a little bit easier, a little bit less work. And but so if it's close like that, I'll do that. But if it's like one's 14,000 and one's 12,000, I'm like, crap, I don't risk it, because 2,000 pounds, I don't know if that's too much or if it's still within a ratio where your rear trailer won't fishtail on you. I don't know. But I don't risk it, because I don't want to be trying to pass somebody and my rear trailer starts fishtailing and send somebody off the road. I'm like, no, not worth it. So I could have switched them, because my front trailer was going to Knoxville and they had that set up as my first stop. And so when I got the dolly set up in front of the rear trailer, I got hooked up to what was going to be the front trailer, and then I looked at the weights on the load assignment. The weight was like, I think 12,800 for one, and for the front, and 12,500 for the rear trailer. It was like 300-pound difference. I was like, well, shit. I could have totally switched these and make it easier, but by that point I was already hooked up to the other trailer, and I already had the dolly in front of the rear trailer, so I would have had to disconnect, hook back up to the dolly to move it in front of the other trailer, and then hook up to the other trailer myself. And it was like, it was raining, I was getting soaked already. It was the start of my night, and I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna deal with it, it's fine, whatever. So I get everything hooked up, I get everything dispatched, I get on my way to Knoxville. Of course, tired as always, so made a quick pit stop to Love's, right next to, literally like one exit away from the FedEx hub, on your way back up to 40. And got in there, got some chicken tenders at the Hardee's, got my coffee, which that's a funny story right there too, because for the longest time I was always getting cappuccinos. Get a cappuccino, feel fine, whatever. With the way the last 6 weeks have gone, with just working 6 days a week, which for me it's almost like, feels like half a day, getting half a day off before you come back to work on Tuesday, because I'm getting off Monday morning and going to sleep for 5 or 6 hours, because you don't want to sleep the whole day because you're technically off, and then spending Monday night relaxing, and then Tuesday you're back to work. So yeah, I've been pretty tired for a while. But so the cappuccino stopped working. I mean, I would drink them and still be yawning my butt off, So I ended up last couple weeks, or last probably 2.5 weeks or so, I've noticed that, like, I've actually been leaning more towards going actually with coffee, you know, because yeah, I figured, well, if I need the caffeine, if I need the actual like pick me up, I'm just gonna maybe I'll just do a coffee and I'll try to like, you know, because I can't do it really black. Um, One funny thing is my bro Ricco, he kind of jokes with me. He's like, you know, because he actually walks down to like he'll get up in the morning and he walks down to the store to actually get coffee, like get a cup of coffee. Mainly because from what he's told me, he's addicted. So like if he makes coffee at home, like makes an entire pot, he'll just drink the whole pot, and then I guess he's been dehydrated in the past and ended up in the hospital because he was drinking only coffee or whatever. So now he has to like, you know, limit himself, like take 1 cup or whatever. Or I think he's made homemade coffee a little bit within the past couple months, where he's boiled the coffee beans or something. I had sent him a link for a French press because I was like, hey, bro, like, I mean, you should check this out. Like, you know, French press, you put the boiling hot water in there, you have the coffee grounds up top, and then you just press them down, you know, and then you just pour directly out of the French press, like you're pouring a pitcher. And I know at first he was like, yeah, but isn't that like really, really expensive? I said, no, they're like, you can get one for like $15 from Walmart or something. He was like, oh wow, okay, cool. So I don't know if he ordered one or if he I don't think he's ordered one as far as I know. But so I'd recommended that to him because of, you know, hey, it's a way for you to have your coffee and not to you know, go overboard, not to drink way too much if you don't want to. And so yeah, for a while I had kind of gotten away from coffee, like you know, I'd done the cappuccinos, I'd done the little Starbucks drinks, whatever, little mixes, you know, that's like the fraps, blah blah blah. I'd kind of done that, but when you really, I guess when you really need the boost, best to go straight to the source. So I've kind of been tweaking it here and there. So what I do is at Love's, they have this coffee machine. It's got like it's a big machine. It has like one spot you can put a thermos, spot that's a little shorter, you can put your cup. It says put cup here. And that's another thing that I'm not sure exactly what that is. But then of course up top it has a couple jars of coffee beans. And so you literally put your cup under there and it's a touchscreen. You tap it and basically you select. They have a couple different coffee options like morning roast or Brazilian bold or something. And so, you know, of course I'm thinking like, well, I'm gonna cream and flavor the hell out of it, but I still want it like really as intense as possible, the coffee itself. So I'm usually like dark coffee or bold or whatever, because I don't want it light, you know, like really light, because I want it to. I'm working all night. I need to freaking wake up. So, I would select the boldest, and usually it's a 24-ounce cup, but I would select medium, and I would still select the option leave room for cream, and so it would start, you know, filling it up with coffee. I let it get to like an inch and a half or so from the top, and then I hit the X to stop it. And because I haven't perfected this technique yet, I'm still working on it. So, but then I would stop it like an inch or so from the top, and then I would, you know, take my cup over, go find the liquid creamers, either French vanilla or hazelnut. I've been advised by my bro Ricco to stay away from the powdered creamers. I don't remember exactly why, but I've heard they're not very healthy for you versus like doing the actual like liquid creamers. So I was like, all right, cool. I haven't really cared for the powders anyway in the past, because usually like you put the powder in there and you mix it up, and then you still just have clumps in there unless you could really, really mix it up really well. So I would, I prefer the liquid creamers anyway. So I would top it up that last inch or whatever with whatever creamer I picked. And this is one of the things too that like my parents are big coffee drinkers, and next time I visit them, because I've done coffee at their house before, but I don't think they have the flavored coffee or the flavored creamers. I believe they just literally have just like half and half, or like just plain creamer. And so you put the creamer in there, and then you can put some sweeteners, but otherwise you still have the, hey, it tastes like coffee. Yes, it's been creamed, but there's not any like extra flavors to detract from it, So I might have to, next time I visit them, stop at the store, and especially when I visit, Kansas to visit my mother-in-law, Betsy. She'll have some other sweeteners, like Trivia or whatever. I think that's what it's called. And usually, again, the plain creamers, because a lot of my family and my relatives or in-laws or whatever, they do. Most of them, a lot of them do like black coffee. I'm like, yeah, no, I'm good. So I guess when visiting them, I'll just have to make sure to hit the store to grab like a box of a lot of Splenda packets and one of the tall things of like either French vanilla or hazelnut creamer, because with that I can make the coffee actually, taste the way I want it and still get the boost. I'm weird when it comes to coffee like that. It's like I love the smell of coffee, but like a while back when I first got introduced, it was actually my grandparents. They always did really, really strong coffee. They made it really strong, always black, whatever. One day when I was a teenager, I don't remember if I was like in high school. I think it was in high school, and we were visiting them because I guess we were going to take a trip. We'd rented a motorhome, and my grandparents had their own motorhome, and we were going to do a little RV convoy. We went up to Yellowstone, and we went up to Niagara Falls, and it's pretty fun, but I think when we were at my grandparents' house before we left, they were making coffee, and I was like, hey, what's that like? Like, coffee, is it good? Like, they're like, oh, do you want to try it? I'm like, yeah, sure. So they, handed me a cup, no sweetener, no nothing in it, just black coffee. I took a few sips. At first, I was like, whoa, that's really strong. And my grandma was like, do you like it? I'm like, I don't know. The jury's still out on that one. Took a few more sips, and then I handed it back to her. Yeah, I can't. I didn't throw up or anything, but it did make me a little bit nauseous because of how strong it was, and it was like, it turned me off to coffee. I was like, oh man, that's nasty. I was like, so for a while, it was like energy drinks for me. So, and apologies about any little pauses for a second. It's basically me taking a sip. But yeah, so for a while it was like Monsters, Red Bulls, whatever. Couldn't do coffee. It was like, you want a coffee? No, thank you. Then I don't know when I got back into it because I was working overnights doing security for a hospital. And I would do a thermos full of coffee. And I didn't bring any water with me, though. As far as I remember, I think I just had a thermos full of coffee. So I'd bring a thermos with coffee, and I'd bring my... turn off the volume on my Mac here. Because... I hope I sound clear to you guys, because I'm actually trying something new. Last episode I did was with the little mini microphones, the wireless ones that you connect the receiver to your phone, and then you turn on the actual microphone and it connects, and then you can literally be up to like 10 feet away speaking into the mic, and it'll noise cancellation, and it will, basically be fairly clear. And when I listened to the episode to, after it posted to make sure everything sounded good, I was like, wow, I was kind of surprised actually, because part of that episode I was driving to work and I'd clipped the microphone onto my reflective hoodie, and was just going about the episode while I was on my way to work. And when I listened to it, I was like, I'm surprised. I actually sound really clear. Like, I was expecting there'd be like a lot of background noise because, of course, you're on the road on your way to work, you're hitting bumps. So I thought, and I was watching the little, the volume, from the recording where it spike up every time there's a noise. And so every time I hit a bump, it would spike up. And I was half expected to hear that when I played the recording back, and I didn't. So I was like, okay, those mics are actually pretty good. I was like, I didn't know what to expect. I mean, I knew they were good. I just didn't know how good, because I'd seen them all, like I'd seen them on TikTok, but didn't know exactly how good they were. So but now with the condenser mic for my Mac, I've done a little bit of playing around with it. I had one day last week where I was kind of, I think it was Wednesday, actually I think it was Thursday actually, because I came in Wednesday, I ran a Kodak load.9, so Kodak and back. Then Thursday, my boss is like, "Oh, you're probably doing Knox Kodak tonight, because Apple's not running." And so he said I was doing probably a Knox Kodak that night, because I was gonna be doing a one of the Memphis airport runs, and that didn't happen. So he said, yeah, they're not that app, like FedEx Express is really slow, so you're probably doing a Knox Kodak tonight. I was like, okay. I didn't hear anything by the time I was supposed to normally come into work. So what I did is I was like, well, we were expected to be up there sitting, and basically be available for a run at least through the end of December. So I brought my computer with me, and I grabbed my condenser mic. Thought, well, I'll play around with it, figure it out, because I kind of tried to play with it earlier that day, and at first I was worried because I couldn't figure out how to get the mic to actually record on the computer. Because it's funny, I got all excited because I hooked up the mic, and I think I had my bro Ricco, I had him on voice clip or whatever, and I hit record, and then I played one of his clips because I was asking him hey, how do I, or because I did kind of a little video, because my mic has a little mesh screen in front of the mic, and I guess that's the pop filter, so it's that way it's supposed to stop from while you're talking, and you got the different consonants and vowels or whatever. It's supposed to stop, or prevent the mic from hearing up. So, and it's funny, my mic technically, it's got this it's a built-in little tripod, but since I'm out here, it's I debated tonight, initially coming into my technical weekend, which was supposed to only be one day off because we're still in peak season. But since we're off on Tuesday, technically I'm off tonight, and I'm off tomorrow night, and I go back till Wednesday night. So, but I'm kind of holding the mic with the tripod legs are all together. I'm just holding it like a regular microphone while I'm sitting here on my recliner, just chilling out. Got the MacBook right next to me on the side of my side of my chair, got the recording app open, you know, looked into a few other things as far as like trying to make things better for the podcast. Like, do I switch it over to Spotify for podcasters, or do I leave it where I'm at? I might end up switching it just because I know if I go with Spotify, I don't have to pay monthly, and sounds like they have some better features, but there's some other things I got to take into account too that I don't know if I want to switch everything over. But at the same time, I would love to have, like, my plan with this podcast is to eventually figure out how to actually monetize it. That's why I have the links for anybody who wants to support the show, you know, Blodgett Show Podcast or blodgettshow.com/support. But, you know, for now, it's like I'm leaving things the way they are, but I'm always looking to try to make things better. Just like at some point, these real talk episodes are going to have some back and forth. Like, I'm going to have somebody I'm, you know, going to bring on, and we're just going to chat back and forth about a certain topic or, you know, whatever, because hey, it's real talk, you know. So really want to do that. Really want to get that planned and figured out, and, you know, figure out how we're going to do it, whether it's, you know, getting on like technically on a Zoom and having the audio recorded so that way, you know, hey, that could be the podcast, you know. But that's one of the changes I hope to make, little interviews or whatever. And sometime, hopefully very soon, I'll be reigniting the Storytime Friday segments. So that's a plan as well. Just gotta buckle down and actually start getting some, you know, cranking out some writing stuff, getting some stories written for you guys, and that way we start having the stories on Friday again. But a lot of it for me, the past especially 6 weeks, has just been difficult to do because I really haven't had the actual like free time to actually do anything. Especially when you feel like you only have half a night off. It's like you know, when you're off, when you have that downtime, you don't really feel like putting in work when you're not actually at work. You know, even though I'm still making a point to do what I can to actually get, especially lately, I'm not doing the Storytime ones yet again, but I've been trying to be consistent with these real talk episodes. You know, try to make sure that I get them recorded and that you know, get them posted. And I'll admit, this week, and usually what I do, I have a little routine, little tactic, little routine kind of. I kind of up until when I got these other mics, what I would do is I would try to make it a point to actually record my Real Talk episode at some point by the end of my work week. Like, even if it's like my last night of the week, before I end my night, go ahead and open the app, put my headset on, hit record, talk about whatever I was going to talk about that week. And do that so that way on my days off, all I have to worry about is basically doing the edits, get the background music in there, the sound effects, whatever, closing sound effects, and basically, voila, get everything uploaded. But I kind of, and sometimes what I need to do is I need to act in the moment, I guess. Because there'll be times where I'm like, hey, I'm really inspired by such and such topic. I think I should talk about such and such. And I'll think about putting on the headset, hit record, and going ahead and talking about whatever has got me inspired at the moment. But this week, I've had that happen probably 5 or 6 times. Oh, that would be a really good thing to talk about. But then I don't. And then, I come in the next day and go to work, whatever. And then, the night, I think it was my second to last night of the week, there was 3 topics that I was like, oh man, I think I could really have a lot to say about such and such. But then when I came in last night to work, all through the night last night, I kept thinking Man, I can't remember what it was I was thinking about talking about yesterday. Because the inspiration for it was gone, so I couldn't remember. I couldn't remember what it was. So I kind of just held off. I kind of just went, thankfully. So back to, about the way the week went. Saturday into Sunday, I came in at 10. I had a Knox and Kodak load. Had to drop a Knox, literally drop the entire set a full thing up again, take off to go to Kodak. And Kodak had to drop the rear empty and the dolly, go park the front loaded trailer, and basically then grab it empty and set up again, to then come back to Lebanon, which there was going to take, I was told either it was going to be a Nashville load or a Nashville-Clarksville combo load. I was like, all right, the entire time, like there were a couple times when I was setting up, hell in Knoxville especially, I had everything mostly set. I had everything hooked up, and literally the skies opened, just started downpouring. So like it was raining a little bit throughout the entire night, but like at that point it just really started coming down. And I was like, all right, I'm getting soaked, even though I have, a couple layers on. I got back in the truck and I thought, well, screw it, I'm gonna hang out for 15-20 minutes. I'm gonna see if it lightens up a little bit, because it sucks. Like I'm getting drenched and don't really want to get any more sick than what I already am. Kind of been fighting off a cold for the past week or so. So I ended up waiting it out until it seemed like, all right, it's still raining pretty hard, but it's lighter than it was 10 minutes ago. So I'm gonna go ahead and I did everything in the truck that I could, as far as like putting everything in the computer, get myself dispatched. I go through the app that we have to do the inspections, and so I was like, those things you have to take photos outside. So I was like, all right, here we go. So hopped out and went ahead, ran back there, and figured, let me go ahead and knock this out. So got that taken care of. Got back in the truck, got myself finally dispatched back to Kodak, or that was when I was on my way to Kodak. I was, it's like, man, the freaking, being soaked and dealing with the rain. But at Kodak, it had lightened up a little bit, so it wasn't quite as bad. But on my way back to Lebanon, I was praying. I was like, oh, come on, let it be just a Nashville load, because like the way tonight's gone, it's dragged on because I move slower when you're getting massively rained on. It's like, yeah, I don't want to be out here. Some people call out for being sick. Some people call out because, family stuff. I was like, if I was one to call out, I would have called out, because I'm like, yeah, it's raining too hard, I can't work. But I don't do that. So I got all the way to Lebanon, and basically, I arrived, I checked in, and of course it was like, hey, Clarksville and Nashville. Ah, shit. Okay. So, and of course they had it set up. It's like, that's how my whole night went. It's like, they had me set up to go to Clarksville, which is preferable because I ended in Nashville, so it's nice to go to Clarksville first, and then drop a loaded, grab an empty, head to Nashville. The kicker was, again, the front trailer was Clarksville and the rear trailer was Nashville. I'm like, man, son of a bitch. So, and the weights weren't within 300 pounds like the previous one that I could have switched, but it was like a couple thousand difference. So I was like, well, I can't switch those. So I was looking at my time, and initially I was like, I want to stop at Love's, hit the bathroom, take a like stretch my legs, whatever, just walk, walk in, hit the bathroom, and come back out. But literally I had like 3 hours on my 14-hour clock at that point. It's like 85 miles to Clarksville. I was like, yeah, I better not waste any time. So I literally just got loaded, got myself dispatched, took off. And I get to Clarksville. Of course, the whole way up there, I'm like telling myself, making a little game plan in my head. All right, right, how am I going to do this? How am I going to get in and out as quick as possible? You know, and so normally what I do, like, I guess whether or not I'm keeping that front trailer, like if I'm keeping the front trailer, I'll drop the rear trailer and I would drive the front trailer in the dolly and pull out in front of one of the empties. And I'd go back there and I'd manhandle the dolly, walk it back to the rear empty, and then go get back in the truck and back the trailer up to the dolly to then hook up. But if I'm dropping that front trailer, I'll still temporarily drop the rear trailer, still pull in front of that empty trailer with the front trailer and the dolly, manhandle the dolly back there, go back to the truck, and then park that front trailer in a space, go hook up again to the other trailer that I'm actually taking, and then pull in front of the dolly and back up and set up. It's a couple extra steps. It's a real pain in the ass, but you know, it is what it is, you know. So I had this game plan, like, all right, this is what I'm gonna do. So I get there, and the funny thing was there's like a set of trailers that was set up. I'm like, well, I don't need 2 empties, I need 1. So I looked at that, I was like, well, that one already has a dolly in front of the rear trailer, and everything's already hooked up. So what I did is, like, after dropping that front trailer, I actually hooked up to that front trailer and that empty set, and I pulled out from where it was and I looped it around and like parked facing the gate. So that way it was, because it was in an area that was kind of like wasn't a lot of room. Pulled it right there. I disconnected the dolly from that back trailer, set it down, parked that front trailer off in a parking space, went and grabbed my other loaded trailer, pulled in front, hooked everything up. I'm watching my time. Like at that point, I think I had like an hour and 10 while I'm hooking stuff up. And I'm like, all right, let's get this going. Come on. And so I get everything hooked up, and literally it's like an hour, like 5 minutes, hour and 4 minutes, something like that, left on my 14-hour clock. And I get myself dispatched, I take off, and of course my plan on my way home was like, it'd be really great, because I know that usually when I'm coming back from Clark, usually it's early in the morning or earlier in the day, so like that, there's a truck stop off exit 24. Used to be a MAPCO, now it's a Circle K. Has a crispy crunchy chicken inside. And so a lot of times back when I was running my Farina run, going to Illinois and stuff, I would a lot of times stop in there and grab some chicken tenders, you know. But now either I'm coming out there too late, so they're closed, or I'm coming back too early, so they're not open yet. So I ended up, I was like, oh man, I really want to stop there. That'd be great. Stop in there, get some tenders for me, maybe get an 8-piece mixed bucket or something, take it home for the fam. But at the same time, I'm watching my time tick down. I'm going, but I don't know if I have time, because I knew I had probably like 15 minutes of a little bit of a window, you know, to spare or whatever. So I was like, yeah, I better not. Like, I probably gotta play it safe. And so I pushed on through and just headed straight back to Nashville. Literally got back to the hub with like 14 minutes on my 14. Got both the trailers dropped. Put myself in yard move, because I had to also fill up the fuel and the def or whatever. And on my way back from Clarksville, my boss texted. He's like, so it's gonna be a really late start for you tonight, but it should be an easier night. You know, thank God this is last week of this BS. You know, can't wait till we're back to doing regular stuff. We're not having to work 6 days, whatever. I'm like, you're telling me. So, but then I was like, we're still off on New Year's Eve, right? He's like, yep. All right, cool. You know. So I think I finally got parked after fuel, and it was like just before 11. So I said, yeah, I should be able to log back in around 11. I'll probably leave home at like 10:40. So at 10:40, I was literally getting ready to leave, and he was texting me to log into the app, log in or check in on the app, because Lebanon's looking for you. I'm like, okay, well, they can look all they want, but I'm not at the truck yet. I said, I'm on my way in though. So, you know, got ready really quick, got into the truck, and So that night I did, basically he was like, you're going to do a Huntsville, and then you're going to come back and you're going to grab a Nashville from Lebanon, and that's basically going to be your night. Okay, cool. I can live with that. It's fine. So I get down to Huntsville, and there's a funny thing down there because like there's a couple hubs. They're like right next to each other, like literally within like half a mile from each other on the same street. And so it's like you got two of them that are fairly small, like one that's really small, one that's a little bit bigger that actually has its own gate. The really small one doesn't have its own gate. It's like just, it's a fairly decent sized building, but then it just has a dirt lot. But the one that's a little bit bigger has an actual pavement, and it's got a gate you gotta scan in. And then you got one that looks like the one that I deal with up here in Nashville. It's like a full size one with, you know, gated entrance and all that stuff. A lot of times they'll send you down there with one trailer for one hub, one trailer for another hub. And I guess at one hub, like the South Huntsville, it's funny because I'll be like, I think one time I went down there and I stopped. There's this really shady truck stop that's right down the street. I was like, I really have to go to the bathroom. Oh my god, you know. And it was like I think it was like a Saturday and a Sunday, and it was like, yeah, the buildings are probably locked up, so I'm probably not gonna be able to use their bathroom. So I stopped at this truck stop that's like right down the street. Little mom and pop truck stop has like 3 fuel lanes, you know. I pulled in there with the 2 trailers and was like, I hope I can get out of here because it was really tight parking lot. And the fuel lanes are in the back of the building. So I pulled around there, and I remember walking around the building to walk in the front door. Of course, the guy working inside, he had it set up to where he had to let you in. So I walked up to the door, and he had to like open the door and let me in and close the door behind me. I'm like, yeah, can I use your bathroom? He's like, yeah, they're back there. But, you know, walking around their building, there was a couple cars just kind of sitting out there. You know, like a couple people in the car, the car's not running, no lights, no nothing. They're just sitting there watching, you know. And I walked past them going, yeah, I think I'm going to walk around the other side of the building when I go back to the truck. I get inside, of course, I got me and the fam on one of those apps where it's a family app called Life 360 where, you know, basically it shows your location. Because what can I say, I've been on one of the notes on the episode notes and stuff where I talk about other podcasts, Crime Junkie, you know, learned a lot of stuff from them about like precautions to take to be safe or whatever. And so like having me and the fam on one of those apps, it's, you know, it's kind of reassuring because that way we can be like, well, if something happens, at least we know where we last were. So I went on that app. You know, once I got in the bathroom, I opened that app and I checked in on that app at that specific location. I said, if I just happen to disappear tonight, they can look and see, well, this is where it was last. But funny thing is, the South Huntsville location, like literally that weekend, I got back to the truck and I was, you know, turning out back on the road and turning down that street to head to South Huntsville. And of course my phone went off and it was a Alabama number was calling me, and I answered. She's like, yeah, this is so-and-so from Huntsville, from South Huntsville. We see that our trailer is at the wrong location. And I'm like, no ma'am, like I just stopped really quick to use the bathroom, but I'm on my way to you now. I'll be there in a few minutes. Okay, cool, thank you so much. So so that happened that weekend. And then last night I was down there in Huntsville, and my first trailer my first stop was East Huntsville, which is the big one. And then the next one was South Huntsville. And I was expecting to do what they normally have me do, which is like you drop the first one, you pick up an empty, you take full set over there to South Huntsville and drop everything and then put it empty in front. But thankfully at East, they didn't have me do that. They had me just drop and take the front trailer to south, and so I was like, oh, cool, less work. I just dropped the rear trailer. I kept my dolly, and I took off to go to south. And of course, I'm on my way towards the gate. South Huntsville calls me. He's like, yeah, we see their trailers at the wrong yard. I'm like, no, ma'am. I was like, yes, ma'am. But I had one trailer for East Huntsville, and I've got that dropped. I'll be over to you guys in the next couple minutes. Oh, okay, cool. Thank you so much. I'm like, yes, ma'am. So it's like, but so get over there, get that taken care of and whatnot. It's funny actually, because there's a switcher that was working, and well, initially of course I had made 2 attempts to do a bathroom stop on the way down. So there's a brand new, refurbished, like a brand new remodeled rest area as you're coming into Alabama. It was closed for the longest time, and now it's brand new and fancy and open. So I was like, oh, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and try that's why I say you listen to your body. Like if you feel like you're gonna have to go soon, and you see a place to stop, and you don't know if there's another place to stop for a while, you might as well pull over and try to go. Driver lesson right there, versus like pull over and go in the ditch. But pulled into this rest area, and I made the mistake of, when I was pulling through, I went ahead and started to pull through this one space that was on the far end, but of course I don't think that was a parking space, so it's like no parking. I'm like, crap. So I kept going, and here I am driving in front of all the other vehicles that are parked in those diagonal spaces, and suddenly from there I'm seeing that there's like areas with like 3 spaces next to each other that are open, but I can't go over there because now I'm in front of this other side. I'm like, well, shit, I kind of screwed myself right there. So I ended up just leaving that rest area and continuing on to Huntsville. And when I got to Huntsville, I was like, well, I'm not going to that truck stop again. I was like, it's Sunday night into Monday morning, so I'm like, at that point I knew people would be working, and I was hoping the building would be open so that I could get in there, use the break room or whatever. But after talking to the lady on the phone and telling her, yeah, I'll be on my way to you in a couple minutes, I stopped, and I literally walked over to the door to hit the button to open the garage door, one of their little bay doors, and of course I hit the button, nothing happens. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me, man. So I thought, well, I know there's somebody over there at South Huntsville because they just called me, so maybe I can use the bathroom over there. So I get over there and I see there's a switcher moving trailers around and whatnot. And so I get the rear trailer dropped. I drop the dolly somewhere where I can come back and pick it up. I bobtail back over to where the switcher is, up near the main part of the building. Park it off to the side. I come over to him like, hey, do you guys have a bathroom I can use? Yeah, I go in this door right here. And then you just ask, they'll tell you where it is. I'm like, well, I know where your bathroom is. I've been there before, but I didn't know if I could, if it was unlocked and I could use it right now. But yeah, you're fine. Go ahead, go in there. Okay, cool, thank you. Went in there, did what I had to do. Came back out and got the dolly again. Started hooking stuff up, and get myself dispatched and get all the way back to Lebanon, thinking probably taking 2 trailers, or I thought, well, I said maybe I'm taking 1 loaded trailer, so I can just drop the rear trailer and the dolly, go grab my loaded, set that up in front of my rear trailer and dolly. I get there and they have me set up just to take 1 empty back to Nashville. I'm like, okay, well, I guess they don't have a loaded trailer for me. And normally I would drop the rear trailer and then go put the dolly in the dolly section, but I thought, you know what? I'm just going to drop the rear trailer and I'm going to add the dolly to my load assignment. So basically just drop the rear trailer, made sure all the cables and wires were still hooked up to the dolly and secured, so that way I had lights on the back of the dolly. And then dispatched myself and took off. So I was there like 15 minutes, not even. I was like, well, that was easy, but I could have gone straight back to Nashville. But hey, more miles. So the boss texted me or whatever. It was like, hey, so do you want to work Monday night? Since we're off Tuesday, do you want to work Monday too? And I'm like, nope, I'm good. I'll pass. I'm like, no, thank you. I'm like, I mean, yeah, technically we're getting that night off, but technically normally I would have Sunday night and Monday night off, and I work Sunday And so because of New Year's Eve, I'm off Monday and Tuesday, which I'm like, hey, after last week with having that extra day off because of Christmas, so I actually have two nights off in a row. I'm like, hey, I felt so much better towards the end of the week because I was like, I actually had some rest, some like recoup, some kind of like wind down, whatever. So I was like, hell yeah, I need the downtime. So came home, grabbed some sleep, took the went out and ran some errands. It's funny, I didn't know if we were doing dinner tonight, so of course, like, when I went out with my kiddo, we went down there to go to Kroger to pick the wife's prescriptions up, and I kind of looked over at my kiddo and was like, hey, do you want to get some tacos from the Mexican restaurant? She goes, maybe. So like, all right. So normally I get tacos and I'll get a side of the Spanish rice, and I'll just get her tacos because she doesn't do the rice. But I went into Kroger first, did what we had to do. Went over to this place called Cancun Mexican restaurant, which if you're ever in Nashville, you should check it out. Really good Mexican food, really really cost like price. I'm trying to think of very affordable, I guess would be the right. It's not too pricey. You don't feel like you're really spending a whole lot on arm and a leg or whatever. So, after we did what we had to do there, and we got the I gave her the key to the truck, and I was like, I'm gonna walk over and grab the Mexican food or get the tacos and whatnot. And I figured you probably don't want to sit over there and wait for that. She goes, no, come on. And then I was like, well, I mean, if you want to. She goes, no, I'm good. She walks off to the truck. I'm like, that's what I thought. So, thankfully with tacos and rice, it's like probably 5 minutes. Order, because I think by the time you order, they've already sent it back there. And, it's like 5 or 8 minutes later, they're walking up with the bag. So this many tacos and order of rice. I'm like, yes, sir. My order, I was like, yeah, 6 tacos. Can you do those 3 and 3 because it's for my kid? So, yeah, absolutely. So got back to the truck, and before we headed off to the post office, I was like, well, while we're here, let's go ahead and dig into our food. So we were eating our tacos and whatnot, but then of course we get home and my wife had made dinner. I was like, oh, okay. So we're hit or miss around here sometimes. Sometimes there's times I'll make dinner. There's times where the wife will make dinner. There's times where kind of we fend, call a fend for yourself kind of night, where everybody just kind of makes what they want, Especially if I get to bed really late and I have to go in, I might not get up. I might have to go in at 9 o'clock. I might not get up till 7:30, 8 o'clock, and probably not going to be cooking dinner that night. Sometimes the wife will have dinner already ready on those nights. Kind of, it's one of those, we just play it by ear, but she'd actually made dinner, and I was like, oh, cool. So, I still had a little bowl of the sausage pasta that she made or whatever. So, it's pretty good. And then hung out with her for a little bit. We're kind of jokesters in the family, too, because, for whatever reason, my wife lost her voice. This morning, she was fine. And then I wake up probably by 6 o'clock, get about my 5.5, 6 hours of sleep to try to get up to enjoy somewhat of the day. And my wife texts me. She goes, I lost my voice. I'm like, oh, okay. I'm like, why? Because you were yelling at your friend a little too much. She's like, well, yelling at one of the coworkers, I guess. And I'm like, okay. So come downstairs, and we're, I'm like, she's trying to say something to me. I'm like, just text me. It's I'm in the kitchen. She's like, hey, she texts me hey, can you get my script at Kroger? I'm like, it's after 7. Are they open? And they're like, yeah, they're open till 8. I'm like, okay. So 7:19 or 7:20 or something. I'm in the kitchen. She texts me again. She goes, it's almost 7:30. And I text her back, like, actually, it's 7:21. That means I have 39 minutes left. 39 minutes till 8 o'clock. But she didn't check her message. So, my kiddo, she was in here, in the front room with my wife. And I came back in the room, getting ready to go, like, grabbing my flip-flops and throwing on my reflective hoodie. And my wife starts doing sign language, not official sign language, but like waves at me, points at her watch, whatever. I wave at her, point at my phone, and then point over at her, saying like your phone, check your phone. And so of course she kind of like glares at me and grabs her phone to look, and then she texts me back. And of course the kiddo's laughing this whole time, and I'm like, hey, we're texting, we're a sign language family now. So, but anyway, guys, I will quit rambling. I came on here not knowing exactly what I wanted to talk about because, like I said, I had a couple nights this week where I was like, thought about a certain topic, and then of course forgot about whatever it was I was gonna do. So I was like, all right, what do I want to talk about? At some point, like I said, there's gonna be some little interviews, little actual conversations going on, to make things more interesting, as well as there's gonna be some, Storytime Friday will pick back up once we go back to where I'm not actually just off for like what feels like half a night, and end up having what feels like actually 2 nights off. I can set aside time to be like, all right, cool, let's get about like 2 stories written, because usually to write a full story it's probably like 3 or 4 hours for me to get a decent length short story that's still, when you tell it's like 45 minutes long still, but because I got to get a decent story each time, so that way I can continue adding those to the written volumes, that are going to be published eventually, that you guys can eventually go online and order it everywhere that books are sold, like Amazon and Barnes & Noble, whatever, and all the digital versions as well. But, it's all stuff, all big plans that I'm working towards, that just gotta have the time and energy to do it. But hey, so I'll end this with you guys with what I always like, what my catchphrases, we only fail if we quit, give up, and walk away. So as long as you keep moving forward, you've never failed. Keep pushing forward, keep believing, believe you can, believe you will, and you're already halfway there. And then you just have to go out there and do it. And as always, just want to tell you all that I really appreciate all y'all that hang out with me every week. I know I have like a handful of regulars. I know I've had some Germany downloads. I know I have a handful of USA downloads. Had a couple that for every so often from Russia. I've even had a couple downloads that show up from India. I'm like, India, wow, okay. But so if you've been with me for a while, I really appreciate you. If you're new to this podcast, feel free to like and follow, tell your friends. Anybody that wants to support the show, go to blodgettshow.com/support. And on that note, I want to wish everybody a very happy New Year. I hope you guys have an amazing holiday. Please be safe. Use designated driver. All the crime junkie life rules. If you go somewhere with somebody, leave with that same person. If you're going somewhere alone, tell somebody where you're going. And there's a lot of other safety tips I could probably put out there and stuff, but on that note, guys, thanks for being here, for closing out the year of 2024 with me here at the Blodgett Show, and I look forward to seeing you guys again on the next episode as we start the new year in 2025. You guys have a good one, and I'll talk to you next time.